The microscope, one of the greatest inventions of all time. But what exactly is it? The microscope is an optical instrument used for viewing very small objects such as animal or plant cells, usually magnified several hundred times. Now you may ask, how does a microscope work? Well, a compound microscope is a type of microscope that utilizes lenses to magnify an object by collecting light through the objective lens to focus the real image inside the microscope. This image is then magnified by a second lens called the eyepiece, in which it gives the viewer an enlarged, inverted virtual image of the object. The combination of objective and eyepiece lenses allows for much higher magnification. Most compound microscopes can magnify by 10, 20, 40, or 100 times, though professional ones can magnify by 1,000 times or more. This picture shows a magnified view of household dust. This image displays a ray diagram of a compound microscope. This shows how the object is magnified by the objective and eyepiece lenses to result in an inverted virtual image. The red arrow on the bottom right-hand corner is the final image. A common question asked is who invented the microscope? The answer to this is unclear, as many individuals contributed to the invention of the microscope. In the 1590s, two Dutch spectacle makers, Zacharias and Hans Janssen, had created the first prototype of the microscope. They did this by placing several lenses in a tube and looking through it. They discovered that the object near the end of the tube appeared to be greatly magnified, more so than a magnifying glass could do so. Then, in the late 17th century, a Dutch draper and scientist named Anton van Leeuwenhoek became the first person to make and use a real microscope. He had greater success than microscope pioneers before him, as he was able to achieve magnifying power of 270 times, when most other microscopes at that time were lucky to achieve a magnifying power of 50 times. All of these early microscopes had showed quite distorted images due to the low quality of the glass and imperfect shape of their lenses. In order to view accurate images from a microscope, the design of the microscope had to be improved. Not much improvements were made to the microscope until the middle of the 19th century. During this time, a lot of improvements were made to the microscope, and in the end, microscopes like the ones found today emerged. Some issues that were solved included chromatic aberration, spherical aberration, and improving the microscope so it would be able to collect a cone of light that is as wide as possible. Chromatic aberration is the unequal bending of different colors of light that occur in a lens. This problem was solved by Chester Hall in the 1730s when he had discovered that if a second lens of different shape and light bending properties, he could realign the colors without losing all of the magnification of the first lens. The next problem, spherical aberration, the unequal bending of light that hits different parts of a lens, was solved by Joseph Jackson Lister. In 1830, he discovered that by putting lenses at precise distances from each other, the spherical aberration from all but the first lens could be eliminated. The last issue of the microscope was the fact that it was unable to collect a cone of light as wide as possible. This was solved by Ernest Abbe in the 1870s. He determined the physical laws that control the collection of light using an objective lens and maximized this collection by using water and oil immersion lenses. Abbe was able to achieve a maximum resolution that is about 10 times better than the resolution Leeuwenhoek had achieved about 100 years earlier. Different types of microscopes have also been invented, like the transmission electron microscope and the scanning electron microscope, which have more magnification power than a compound microscope. So, what is a microscope used for? Microscopes are invaluable research tools that give researchers and students the ability to view the smallest of objects in a magnified way through a lens. Using this technology, anyone can observe things that would be far too tiny to study otherwise. Those who use a microscope regularly usually view both organisms that are helpful and harmful to people. Through this, they have been able to learn much about how microscopic organisms affect humans. None of their work would have been possible without the invention of the lens and the microscope. Without these discoveries, many cures and antiviruses that are known today may not even exist, thus having a world filled with incurable diseases and illnesses.
Created using Powtoon.